Good evening, everybody. I am wanting to present the 2018 open enrollment benefits for PAL and WPML. The open enrollment period will be from Monday, October 30th through Friday, November 10th. Please keep in mind, if you do not complete open enrollment by November 10th, you will not have insurance for 2018. It is very, very important that you complete your open enrollment and workday by Friday, November 10th. The 2017 plans will not carry over to 2018. You must go into workday and re-enroll. Several of employees in the last several days have said, I don't need to do anything for this open enrollment because I'm not changing anything. But unfortunately, our 2017 plans will not carry over. So what that means is you have to go into Workday and actually re-enroll and select what you want for 2018. So what's different in 2018? A main thing that's going to be different for PAL and WPML are we are now offering the Western Division's HMO plans as well as Sonic's PPO plans for the first time ever. This means everybody will have the ability to either do the HMO or the PPO, whichever fits best for them and their family. We also will be switching vision carriers from VSP to MetLife starting in 2018. So an overview of the plans we're going to be offering. We're going to continue offering the 4 HMO plans that everybody is familiar with, as well as the new 3 Sonic PPO plans that consists of a PPO $5,000 deductible, PPO $1,500 deductible, and then an HSA PPO with a $3,000 deductible. So many people ask what's the difference between an HMO and a PPO. The number one difference is a deductible. HMO plans, you do not have a deductible. Coverage starts immediately and you pay your copay. So depending on which plan you choose, it's either a $20 copay or a $40 copay. For PPO plans, you have your deductible and you have to pay that deductible out of pocket before your insurance will start to kick in. So what this means is that if you choose the cheaper $5,000 deductible plan and in January 3rd, you go to have an MRI done, you're going to be paying out of pocket for that MRI until you meet the $5,000 deductible. Once you have paid that $5,000 deductible out of pocket, then your insurance starts to kick in and will cover the 70% or the 80%, depending on which plan you choose. The number 2 big difference between HMO and PPOs is the coverage. HMO plans, you generally only pay your copay, and everything else is going to be covered by the insurance carriers. However, PPO plans, not only do you have that deductible out of pocket at the beginning of the year, you also have to continue to pay 30% or 20% of the bill after you pay your copay. Number 3, the overall cost. HMO plans tend to be a little bit cheaper and in some cases a little bit more expensive. However, you're paying a little bit per pay period, but you're not having to pay that out-of-pocket cost all at once like a $5,000 deductible. Whereas a PPO, in some cases, especially if you choose a high deductible plan, it might be a little bit cheaper per pay period. But like I said, you will owe that deductible out of pocket before that insurance will actually kick in. So some pros and cons to HMO and PPOs. HMO plans, the pros are they're a little bit cheaper throughout the year when you have services done. And generally, they're covered in full outside of copays. The cons to an HMO is you have to stay within that network. So you notice we're offering 2 different HMOs. We're offering a trio HMO and a full net HMO. And depending on which one you choose, you have to go to doctors, urgent cares, hospitals that are covered under that trio or full net plan, depending on which one you choose. The other con to an HMO that could sometimes be looked at as a con is you have to wait for insurance to approve specialty services. So for example, you go to your primary doctor, you're having back pain and your doctor wants you to have an MRI done on your back. He would have to send for approval to the insurance company. Once the insurance approves it, then you can make the appointment with the specialty service to have it done. It usually takes anywhere from 1 to 5 business days, depending on severity or time of the week or time of holidays or so forth. Pros and cons to the PPO plans. The pros are they're slightly cheaper per pay period. You have the ability to visit almost most doctors, urgent cares, and hospitals, and you do not have that waiting period for authorization of specialty services. The cons is you have to pay the deductible out of pocket before your insurance will start to pay. Once deductible is met, you still have to pay that copay plus 20 to 30% of that bill, depending on what services you're having done and what plan you've chosen. So if you see on this slideshow the rates for the HMO plans, these are taken out of your paycheck bi-weekly. So every paycheck, every other Friday, depending on which plan you choose, this is the amount that would come out of your paycheck. The Trio HMO $40 copay is free for the employee, and then we pay 50% for dependents, so spouse or children. And basically what we do then is we take that amount that we would have paid and we put it towards the other amount, and basically you pay the difference. So basically the other plans are buy-up plans. The 40 and the 20, what that means is you're either buying a $40 copay plan or you're buying a $20 copay plan. This is a medical plan comparison of the two HMO plans. You'll notice it has Trio and FullNet linked together, a Trio FullNet 40, and then on the right-hand side, a Trio FullNet 20. And the reason being is Trio and FullNet have the same exact coverage. The only reason why FullNet costs a little bit more is due to FullNet having a much broader doctor range for you to choose from, whereas Trio is going to have a much more limited doctor range. So that's why Trio is much cheaper. It's because you're going to have a much more narrow network to choose from as far as doctors, hospitals, urgent cares. Whereas your FullNet was a little bit pricier, however, you have a much larger range of doctors, urgent cares, and hospitals to choose from. You'll notice at the top it says zero deductible. Like I said, HMOs, that's the plus side to an HMO, is there's no out-of-pocket cost right at the beginning. Your insurance starts covering you immediately. Right here, you'll notice we have a calendar out-of-pocket maximum. So let's focus on this Trio FullNet $40 copay 40%. It has a $3,500 individual out-of-pocket maximum. What that means is if you go down here where it has hospital admission, you're going to pay a $100 copay admission fee to go to the hospital, and then you're going to pay 40% of that hospital bill. So for example, you may go to the hospital to have a child. That bill will most likely cost anywhere from $20,000 to $40,000 depending if you have a C-section, if you have major surgery or whatnot. So in that situation, you would either pay 40% of that delivery or $3,500, the out-of-pocket maximum, whichever's cheaper. So in that situation, an employee would pay $3,500 and not 40% of the bill. You'll see to the right a Trio FullNet for the $20 copay, which is a little bit more expensive, has a $2,000 out-of-pocket maximum with a $4,000 family. Right there is a $1,500 savings for an individual alone. You'll notice on the slide before, a Trio $20 copay costs $5.22 a pay period. That we have 26 pay periods in a year. So this equals out to, if you buy up and pay for the Trio $20 copay instead of the free one, the $40 copay, you'll be paying approximately $135 annually in order to have that benefit. So right there, you pay an extra $135 per year in exchange to have a $1,500 cheaper of an out-of-pocket maximum. Now, if you think to yourself, you never go to the doctor, you haven't been in the hospital in 10 years, maybe that's not worth it to you, but for some people who might go to the doctor regularly, or maybe are accident prone or have health issues, that $135 extra per year is worth saving that $1,500 individual out-of-pocket maximum. You'll see the office visits, like I said, that's how you're choosing either the $40 copay or the $20 copay, and then all the other items that are paid in full. Down below, you'll see the prescription drugs. It's separated out by generic, brand, or non-formulary. In the employee benefit handbook that was emailed out to everybody, there is a page for the prescription in the HMO section where it gives you the website that you can actually click on in order to watch or in order to research which category your particular prescription falls under. Frequently asked questions regarding HMO plans. What is the difference between the Trio and the Full Net plan? Well, there is no difference between Trio and Full Net as far as coverage. The only difference is the network. So once again, your Trio has a much more narrow network, whereas your Full Net has a much more broad network. So what does this mean? You always want to check and see if your doctor is on that Trio network first. If your doctor is under Trio, there is absolutely no reason why you would pay the extra money to have Full Net, because the only reason why you would ever pay more to have a Full Net plan is if your doctor is not covered under the Trio, but they're covered under the PPO. So many say, why does it say Trio and Full Net have the same coverage? Because it exactly has the exact same coverage. That means you're whether you have the Trio 20 or the Full Net 20, your services are you're still going to have that $20 copay if you go to the doctor. You're still going to have a $100 copay at the hospital if you're admitted, and 20% of that bill and or the out-of-pocket maximum. So the coverage is the exact same for Trio and Full Net. You're only paying extra for that doctor network. What does paid in full mean? That means that once you've paid your copay, the service is paid in full, and in some instances, you won't even have a copay. So for example, women wellness exams each year, child annual exams, typically at each child's birthday, they go to the doctor for what's called a wellness exam to maybe have shots, maybe just check their blood pressure, listen to their heart, do a wellness exam. That would be paid in full and no copay would even be due at that time. The rates for the PPO plans, once again, these are the Sonic PPO plans. We offer a Plan 1, which is a $5,000 deductible, Plan 2, which is a PPO $1,500 deductible, and then Plan 3, which is a PPO HSA $3,000 deductible. You'll notice the higher deductible is, the more it costs, or I mean the less it costs, and the lower your deductible is, the more it costs per pay period. So that is why your $1,500 deductible is so much more expensive than the $5,000 deductible. You're basically saving that money in the deductible, but you're paying it in your per pay period biweekly rates. The other reason is that $1,500 deductible has a higher coverage than the $5,000 deductible, and we'll get into that in just a minute. These are the side-by-sides of the PPO plans and the coverage. You'll notice at the top, once again, to the left, we have our PPO Plan 1, $5,000 deductible. In the middle, we have our PPO Plan 2, $1,500 deductible. And to the far right, we have the PPO HSA Plan 3, $3,000 deductible. You'll notice at the top, we have deductibles listed. There's individual deductibles of $5,000. And with a cap at a family amount of $12,700. So what does that mean? That means if I'm enrolled on our PPO plan, I have a $5,000 deductible. If I add my spouse, I now have a $10,000 deductible. If I have my spouse and 2 kids on my plan, it's going to cap out at a $12,700 deductible. Now, once again, that means that is what you have to pay out of pocket before your insurance starts to kick in. So the more people you have on your plan, the more your deductible will go up. Now you have the same out-of-pocket maximum theory as what we went into before, or logic, that you have to pay that out-of-pocket maximum. So whenever you see down below for inpatient hospital, you're going to pay 30% after deductible. So that means you're going to pay 30% of that bill or the out-of-pocket maximum, whichever's cheapest. On the third line, you'll see we have co-insurance, and what that means is that's what the insurance pays. So if you're in network on that $5,000 deductible plan, your insurance is going to cover 70% of the bill after you've met your deductible. If you're on the $1,500 deductible plan, your insurance will pay 80% of that bill after you've met your deductible. HSA Plan 3, they pay 70%. Now, those percentages go down if you go out of network. You have to be in network in order to have that 70, 80, 70 for those plans. Now, to make sure your doctors or hospitals are in network, you're going to want to take that flyer that was attached to the benefit email called How to Look Up a PPO Provider, and you'll want to make sure they're covered by our PPO plan and in-network. Now, row 4, you'll see office visits and specialty visit copays. For your $5,000 deductible and your $1,500 deductible, it's always going to be the same. You're going to have a $30 and a $60 copay. However, if you choose to enroll in the HSA $3,000 copay plan, you will not have a copay, but instead, you're going to pay 30% of that bill after you've met your deductible. So what that means is January 3rd, if you have the $5,000 deductible plan and you just want to go to your primary care doctor for a normal visit, you're going to pay a $30 copay. However, if you have the HSA PPO Plan 3, you're going to be paying 100% of that doctor visit until you meet your deductible. Once you meet that deductible, you will pay 30% of that bill. Now, for all 3 plans, preventative care have 0 copays. That means, once again, women's wellness appointments, children wellness appointments, things of that nature. The coverage is pretty self-explanatory as you go down, and it tells you the percentage of what you'll have to pay. The one thing I will point out, just to make sure you are fully understanding this HSA plan, what this means is if you pay your $3,000 deductible and you want to go to a dermatologist, which is considered a specialist, you'll pay 30% of that appointment. So if your dermatologist charges $500 per an appointment, you're going to be paying 30% of $500 as your copay. Many people come to me after choosing that HSA plan, and they say, "What the heck? I already paid my $3,000. Why am I having to pay $200 for this appointment?" But that's because you're always responsible for that 30% after deductible, and that's for in-network. If you go all the way to the bottom, you'll see the prescription is a little bit different for the PPO plans. It's separated into tiers. There's 4 tiers. It ranges anywhere from $10 to $200. Once again, in the benefit booklet that was given to you all, if you go to the actual prescription page for the PPO section, you could go to that website and you can actually look up to see where your prescription falls on the tiers, so that you have an idea of how much that prescription is going to cost you. So frequently asked questions regarding PPO plans. What's the difference between $5,000, $1,500, and $3,000? Many people don't really understand it, and they just hurry and choose whatever's cheapest. But these are what the deductible amounts are. So depending on which one you choose, that is the amount you will have to pay out of pocket before your insurance will kick in. Now, these amounts will go up if you add dependents. So once again, if you have 2 people on your plan, you're going to double your deductible. If you have more than 2 people on your plan, then you're going to go with the family out-of-pocket maximum. If you skip a couple bullet points below, many people then ask, then what if I add my child or my spouse? Once again, you're going to double that deductible, or it will cap out at the family maximum. So for example, the $5,000 deductible plan 1 is $5,000 per person and caps out at $12,700. So whether you have 3 people or 10 people, your cap will be $12,700 that you have to pay out of pocket before your insurance will start to kick in. What is an HSA? HSA stands for Health Savings Account. This allows for you to put pre-tax dollars aside to help you pay for medical, dental, and vision expenses that aren't covered by insurance. However, you can only enroll in an HSA account if you apply for the PPO HSA $3,000 deductible, and we'll go into that in a lot more detail in the next couple slides. Many people ask, what does coinsurance mean? On the guideline for each plan, it has in-network, out-of-network, 70%, 50%, 60%. This is what the insurance will pay for services if you're in-network or out-of-network. So pay attention to those percentages. So dental biweekly rates, we did not make any changes to our plan this year. We are sticking with Guardian. We will continue to have our HMO and our PPO plan. The main differences between the HMO and the PPO plan is that HMO covers orthodontics, PPO does not. So if you know in advance you're going to have children that are going to need braces or that type of work done, you're better off going with an HMO plan. Otherwise, you're going to be paying 100% of that orthodontics if you choose that PPO plan. Another huge difference between the HMO and the PPO is HMO has unlimited coverage, whereas PPO maxes out at $2,000. So what that means is HMO, if you choose HMO, you could have $15,000 worth of dental work done and it will never cap out. They'll continue to cover you. However, at PPO, once the insurance has paid up to $2,000, it will now be your responsibility to pay for any additional services or work that you have done. Please see the rates below. Once again, these are biweekly rates, which means they will be taken out of every paycheck every other Friday. Vision, we will be moving from VSP to MetLife for 2018. Many people keep asking why. What was the point of switching the carriers? MetLife is our provider for our carrier for many of our other insurances that we offer for our employees, such as short-term disability, long-term disability, life insurance, our employee assistance program. So it only made sense to have as much as we could with MetLife as possible. They were also able to give us slight decreases to our rates for 2018 and give us almost identical coverage, except they even gave us $10 extra for frames and contacts. These are the rates that you will see listed below. HSA and FSA. Many people ask what is an FSA and what is an HSA. It's very confusing and many people don't really understand it. So my goal is to hopefully give you enough information so that you could fully understand it and make a good educated decision when you sign up for your benefits. So an HSA stands for a health spending account. Once again, you can only participate in an HSA if you enroll in the PPO $3,000 deductible HSA. An HSA account can roll over from year to year and you will never lose it. So that means there's no max that you can have in there. There's no limit to what it cuts off at that you could roll over. If you put in $4,000 and you don't use any that year, that full $4,000 will roll over into the next year. It also is not owned by Sonic. This HSA will be owned by you. So what that means is even if you quit Sonic, in 10 years from now, that HSA account will always be yours. Sonic, the other nice thing about the HSA account is Sonic will contribute $500 for an individual and $1,000 for a family, and that is $1,000 total, not $1,000 plus $500. If you're on the plan by yourself, it would be $500, and if you have anybody else on your plan, it's $1,000 they give you. And that's to help contribute towards your HSA. That'll help pay for medical, dental, and vision expenses that are not covered by the insurance. FSA stands for Flex Spending Account. There are 3 different types of FSA. There's a dependent care FSA, there's a healthcare FSA, and a limited care FSA. The dependent care FSA is for participants who want to participate in, who may have children who are in daycare. They might have a special needs child who's a little bit older, however, that they still care for, or even an elderly parent who can't care for themselves and they're essentially a dependent of yours now. All of those could be considered under dependent care. Healthcare FSA is for those participants that are not enrolled in PPO 3000 HSA. So anybody that is enrolled in the HMO plans as well as PPO 5000 or PPO 1500 can enroll in a healthcare FSA. And once again, this is just the same thing. You put aside pre-tax dollars to help pay for qualified medical and dental vision expenses that are not covered by insurance. A limited care FSA is strictly for HSA participants because they can have their HSA to help pay for medical, and then they could put money aside for a limited care FSA that will only cover dental and vision that their insurance does not cover. You can only, for FSAs, roll over $500 each year. This means that if you put $1,000 in your healthcare FSA and you don't end up having any medical issues for the year, you will only be able to roll over $500 and you will lose the other $500. Many people each year come to me at the end of the year begging me to find a way to get their money back or to find a loophole, but there is absolutely no way around this and there's nothing I can do to help you. So please do your homework, look at what's covered under an FSA, and make sure that The money you are putting in matches what you are generally having done on a year-to-year basis. So what's the benefit? Many people come and they say, why even put my money into these accounts if I could risk losing it? Why not just get the money up front on my paycheck, save it, and then pay it as the expenses come up? That way I don't lose anything, which is an excellent question in theory. However, the way pre-tax dollars work is if you have a $1,000 paycheck gross and the government usually taxes you about 25%, that means they're going to take about $250 from that $1,000 to give to taxes. And that leaves you with about $750 to pay for those type of medical expenses and all that to come into play. Now, if you instead put $250 a paycheck into your healthcare FSA or your HSA, if you can be on that plan, what happens is it takes that $1,000 gross paycheck, deducts the $250, and now you're only taxed on $750. And that $250 that you put towards your FSA or your HSA will automatically go into that account to help pay for those expenses as they come up. So the benefit to it is you pay less money to taxes and more money in these special accounts that'll help you pay for the expenses that you're already going to have to pay for regardless. So it comes down to, would you either pay them extra money to the government for taxes, or would you rather put it aside to help pay for your day-to-day medical, dental, or vision expenses that come up that your insurance does not cover? Now, once again, this benefit only really benefits you if you actually have these items done and you save the money. Now, because once again, if you don't have the items done, covered expenses, you risk the chance of losing that money on that FSA if it's over the $500. Please make sure to review the benefit booklet for details and explanations of how HSA and FSA work and what's covered and what's not. So a little more detail of the HSA. It is administered by Charles Snyder. Only HSA PPO Plan 3 $3,000 deductible plan participants can participate in an HSA savings account. Eligible healthcare expenses are basically any medical, dental, vision expenses, including your deductible, are qualified to be reimbursed as long as the insurance company will not reimburse you for it. Company contributes to the HSA plan only, $500 for one or $1,000 for two or more. The plan max that the IRS allows you to contribute is on an individual $2,950 and for a family $5,900. We've already taken into account what we as a company are contributing for you. So this is how much you can take out of your check annually to help put aside for an HSA. If you are 55 and older, you qualify to do what's called a catch-up contribution. So that means you can even put an additional $1,000 annually towards your HSA to help pay for uncovered expenses, medical, dental, or vision. Once again, there's no rules. These funds are yours to keep. They are not Sonic-based, so even if you leave Sonic, it's still yours, and it will always roll over year to year. You will never lose this money. It is yours to keep. But once again, you can only enroll in this HSA if you enroll in the PPO Plan 3 $3,000 deductible. So Flex Spending Account for Healthcare is administered by Charles Snyder as well. This is for all full-time employees that are not covered by the PPO HSA $3,000 deductible. So as long as you are enrolled in HMO plans or the PPO 5000 or the PPO 1500, you can enroll in the Healthcare Flex Spending Account. These will be same thing, medical, dental, or vision expenses, including deductible, that is not covered by your insurance. The annual limitation by the IRS is quite a bit less than what an HSA is. It's $2,650. Now, the annual spending rule, keep in mind, once again, only a $500 rollover each year. So you will lose anything in that account above $500. Regardless of the situation, regarding the circumstances, you will lose it. So please make sure you do your homework and make sure the qualifying expenses that are acceptable for FSA, that you might typically have them done or you foresee having them done in the near future. A limited purpose account, once again, is meant for the PPO HSA $3,000 deductible participants. It's administered by Charles Snyder. And the reason why it's only for those HSA participants is that they could use their HSA for medical and do a limited account just for dental and vision. However, the annual limitation by the IRS is once again $2,650, and for this one, you can only roll over again $500 from year to year. So dependent care flexing account, Charles Snyder is the administrator. Once again, this is not just little ones. This could be adult special needs children. This could be elderly parents. This could be elderly grandparents that you are responsible for caring for that are essentially a dependent under you because they cannot care for themselves. It is $5,000 per household. So what that means is whether you have one child or 3 children that you're paying daycare for, you still can only put $5,000 per household in that account. Now, dependent care is completely use it or lose it. So it is very, very important that you look at how much you are spending per month on daycare to make sure you only enter that amount for your dependent care flex spending account. Even if your life, maybe your life, home life changes and mid-year you don't need daycare anymore, you cannot come in and adjust the amount you're putting in per paycheck for that. Once you do open enrollment, this is going to be set for 2018. So please make sure you really consider all circumstances. You might already know your child might be changing schools in the summer, and you're not going to be paying the same $500 a month. Maybe it's going to go down to $100 per month. You want to take that into an account whenever you're picking the amount that you want to do for dependent care FSA. Once again, all FSAs are optional. If you want it, great. The only thing I tell people is please do your homework before signing up for HSA or FSA. So life insurance and AD&D. As a full-time benefit, Sonic offers full-time employees free life insurance that is double your annual salary up to $100,000. We also offer life insurance and accidental death and dismemberment insurance that employees can purchase in addition to that free life insurance. So what that means is sometimes employees come to me and they say, I get $50,000 free with Sonic, and I want to have $100,000 total for my kids if something were to happen to me. So I want to purchase an additional $50,000, so that way between the one I'm purchasing plus my free life insurance, my children will end up with $100,000 total. You can also purchase life insurance and accidental death and dismemberment insurance for spouses and children. Children cap out at $10,000 per child, and spouses cap out at $250,000, and it must be at least 50% of what you are purchasing for yourself. So that means if I want to purchase $100,000 for my spouse, I have to at least be purchasing $200,000 for myself. And your free life insurance does not count towards the insurance for the employee for that situation as far as a spouse. No changes in the short-term disability options. We will continue to do the 14-day coverage and then the 30-day coverage. You'll see the maximum coverage is $1,500 a week or 60% of your salary, but it cannot exceed $1,500 a week. Option 1 goes for 11 weeks. Option 2 goes for 9 weeks. Please see the benefit booklet for the rates, as it's based upon multiple factors as far as age, who's all covered under the policy, and so forth. So Compass, many of you know Compass. Basically what Compass is a company that we have partnered with to help you all utilize your benefits to the fullest capability. And so what that means is some of the great things that they could do to help you is they can help you save money on medical bills. They could get price comparisons before you even receive care. They can, if you get a medical bill from a hospital and you feel like the hospital is just way overcharging you, what they'll do is go in and really research that bill. If there are errors, they'll contact the hospital and require them to fix that for you. If you have to, say, have a back surgery done and you have no idea of who a good back surgeon is, you could call Compass, and what they do is research and see who's the highest rated back surgeon in your area and covered under your network, and they'll give you that information. Once you choose, you can even ask them to help you book that appointment. Another great thing that they're good for is prescriptions. Your doctor might be prescribing you a very expensive name brand medication because maybe they partner with that name brand company. So this is something that you could call Compass and say, look, my doctor is prescribing me X, Y, and Z. Is there anything that's less expensive that I could get that is the same medication but maybe a generic brand? And they could do that research so you could go back to your doctor and compare for you. So many, many great things Compass can do, and once again, it's free. Free for you. Like I said, it's something we partner with them for. We pay them to help you. All of their information is in your benefit handbook, so please take the time to look at it and look at the rate or the phone number and all the different services. What to remember when enrolling: please make sure to research each plan before picking what plan you choose. You want to make sure you're choosing the best plan for you and your family. You will not have the ability to change, cancel, or add until next open enrollment, which is 1 year from now, unless you have a qualifying event mid-year. But please, please make sure you are doing your research and looking at each plan. You must choose a beneficiary for your free life insurance as well. If you purchase, even if you do not, or you do purchase like the additional life insurance, you have to go into Workday on that open enrollment towards the end and choose who the beneficiary is going to be. If you do not, it will not let you complete that open enrollment. If you choose HMO dental or medical, you must pick a doctor. I apologize for the inconvenience. However, open enrollment page for this would not let us edit the verbiage. So it's going to say, please enter a provider ID. We do not want a number. We need a provider name. So please make sure in that area you are putting a provider name and not a number. Otherwise, at the end of open enrollment, I will be reaching out to everybody who does not follow those instructions to try and get the provider name, as I have no way of looking up provider IDs. If I cannot get a hold of you, we will have to do an auto selection and you'll have to change it for the following month. So please make sure to put a provider name when it asks you to select a dentist or a physician for your primary care physician. Once you have completed open enrollment, a few things will happen. You will get a successful enrollment message at the top of the page, and then the email in your Workday inbox will go away. If you think you completed open enrollment, but you're not sure, the first thing you should do is go check your Workday inbox. If that email is not in your Workday inbox, that means you have not completed open enrollment. Or if it's still in your inbox, I apologize, you have not completed open enrollment. If it is in there, if it is not in there, that means you have completed it. So please, that's your number one way to know if you've completed it or not. So once again, just because I kind of got mixed up with my words, if you have finished your open enrollment and you're unsure if it went through, go check your Workday inbox. If the open enrollment email is still in your Workday inbox, that means you did not complete it successfully. If it is not in your Workday inbox, that means you did complete it successfully and it has gone through. If you wish to make changes to open enrollment before November 10th, you can do that at any time. On the home screen of Workday, you're going to click the Benefit tab on the Workday homepage, and at the bottom of that page, you'll see a link to click on that says Change Open Enrollment. This will then direct you back to the open enrollment page and let you go change it or fix it, whatever you need to do. Just make sure you resubmit the enrollment once you do that. For any questions or concerns regarding open enrollment, please call myself, Lori Buss. You could find me at WPML or PAL. And then you can also contact Amy Johnson, who is typically at WPML in LA, or Amber Jackson, who is the HR coordinator at PAL. Please feel free to email any of the three of us with questions or issues, and we would be happy to get back to you. Once again, open enrollment will end on Friday, November 10th. Please make sure to have your enrollment completely completed and submitted by the end of the day on Friday, November 10th. If you do not complete open enrollment by November 10th, you will not have insurance for 2018. If you have any questions or concerns, please let me know and we will get back to you. Thank you and have a good day.